Morning, everybody. Welcome to Lock Pod, the
Good morning.
second to the last show of the season.
Wow.
Thank
John, are you ready?
God.
Yes. I was like, this is it. This week, and we're done.
John just said verbal fry.
Verbal fry?
Yeah. That's when you go like that. You're not
Saw
supposed
that.
to do that.
You're bright today, man.
Never heard of that.
Are you
Verbal
celebrating?
fry? Because I'm in the biz, John. In the biz,
Oh.
that's what we call it. Like, after a while, you'll be calling it verbal fry.
Phil still thinks he's on a submarine with one on and one off.
Phil's not even turned on.
Like, Phil's like, am I on a submarine?
Muted.
Do you see my headphones?
Can I get a mic check here?
Yeah,
mic check.
John.
Anybody?
Hey, Phil, what's up?
What's up, guys?
Nice to see
Good
you.
morning. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
I noticed the headline that John put on the Facebook Live was like, good morning, Mike Schmuhl. And I was like, well, that's not Mike Schmuhl.
No, not yet.
Ah.
It's not.
Soon.
For those of you that aren't aware, the former campaign manager for Pete Buttigieg's run for the presidency, Mike Schmuhl, he's currently the Indiana State Democratic Party chairman, is our guest today. He's live in the studio, going to be here right around 8 o'clock. So.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. We're excited to have him.
But, you know, at the beginning of the show, we're starting off with Phil.
You kind of like build. It's all about building.
Big time build. Like,
John, did you forget to put my name in there to tease the audience I was going to be here, or what happened?
Well, I forgot to turn your mic on, too.
Okay.
It's almost like you're not here.
Is it all making sense now, Phil?
So basically, I'm testing the seat and the
Correct.
microphone for when the real
for Mike
guest
Schmuhl,
walks
yes.
in.
You know, like when you go to a really good concert, Phil,
Yeah.
you're going to see like a really good band. You're super excited about seeing a
Like,
really
let's
good
say Old
band.
Dominion, for example.
If you're going to Old Dominion like tonight, and then you're super psyched about seeing Old Dominion, and then we throw up some crappy band beforehand,
Or even like the really early.
and then you're sitting there like, who the hell is this crappy opening band, right? You usually ask yourself, and you ignore them while you're drinking.
Sure, you're just getting there.
Phil's the opening band, right?
The opener, because we actually have a good opener tonight. But
We do have a good opener, but
good
Phil,
openers.
two
really,
good openers. It wouldn't be like tonight.
It wouldn't be like tonight. I mean, because Phil, we agree, not that great of an opener.
It's like on a boxing undercard where there's like 12 fights.
And they suck, and they're like
How's it going, Phil?
Glass Joe versus. Right.
We could go on for this for 10
This
minutes.
is great.
too.
Yeah.
This is a good bit. We're gonna.
Why do you think we brought you in? Like, Mike's, you guys are similar heights, similar hair. We needed to get the mic, the
Yeah.
seat height right, the
the,
mics.
the camera's angled. and
Is
all
that what this is? Okay. I feel so welcome right now, like from you guys. This is, wow.
Yeah, welcome, Phil.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Phil.
Thanks to
This is probably, I know we have some mailbag, and then, this could be Phil's last day and played with
Could
City
be.
Hammer.
Well, let's talk about it after we get through mailbag.
I
Did
mean,
you bring boxes, Phil?
I hope he's. I already had Eva and Eileen start
Did you bring
putting
boxes?
putting empty boxes in the office up there.
That was smart.
Yeah.
Hashtags.
For those that don't
save
know,
Phil's job.
yeah, what are we talking about here?
Well, we're gonna talk about Old Dominion in a minute. I mean, basically, right, Phil? It was all about you. This was your show.
That's right.
You said we need to bring country back, Mayor.
That's correct. There was a lot of pressure put on me by Mayor because I was one of the people that supported Old Dominion coming, as he knows, just a supporter of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not even worried. It's going to be an amazing,
Not even
huge
worried.
show tonight.
Hashtag save Phil's job. Be there tonight if you really like Phil and you want him to stay around.
It is exciting to get country music back at the PAV, I would say.
No, country music. I mean, we need more of it for sure. And by the way, I didn't want to go here, Mayor, but since you're, doing this live on air with a lot of people out there, as soon as I announced to the world that you were not bringing country music to Hammond, technically I became a whistleblower. And if you're going to do something to me, I'm just saying I'm going to lawyer up.
Yeah?
You're like Aaron Brockovich.
Have you heard that phrase lately, Phil?
Listen, I didn't steal that from anybody, locally around here. I'm just telling you I'm a whistleblower and, just
Really?
prepare accordingly.
Really?
That's all you
interesting.
need to know.
Well, I'll talk to my lawyer after we get done with this, and we'll figure out what's going on. But
You're
we got
gonna need multiple
What are you
lawyers.
whistleblowing?
We got some mailbag we have to do before we
All
get
right.
started here.
All right,
if
so
you
let's
guys
do
don't
some
mind.
mailbag.
Yeah, I want to hear
Onward.
Phil's
Mailbag.
scheme to try to.
Thank you, John.
Thank
That
you,
was
John.
on cue
We
today.
just we gotta move this thing along, man.
Thank you. I think
By the
John's
way,
like,
you
you know
sound
what?
like-
Last 2 episodes, I'm going to really get this right.
You sound like freaking Kevin Smith or Vez.
Yeah,
Wow.
I heard Kevin was grouchy last
Dude.
night. I missed the pre-show.
The worst. I've never seen him in a worse movie.
There was
than last
something
night.
up.
What
happened?
Jana,
It's just
Jana texted me after the show. Let me know what was going on in Kevin's
Yeah.
life yesterday. He was
just
pissy.
one of those pre-fest stressful days.
He
Lots
was
of stuff
pissy.
going on.
He was very pissy.
We
I
had
noticed
some
it.
contractual issues moving along.
There
so
was something up for sure, Tom.
I
You worked through 'em?
talked to him yesterday morning, Phil.
Yeah.
And he was snappy with me. I'm
No,
like,
that's not
"Damn."
true. I was not.
You notice how he's trying to blow right past
Yeah,
this topic,
what's
too?
going on?
Right.
He's
And
like,
then-
guys, mailbag.
And then last night, I typically don't feel sorry for Phil Phil, but Phil was just being himself, happy-go-lucky guy, and then Phil said a couple things, and Kevin like snapped on Phil last night, and I was like,
didn't
I was in a
snap.
great
It was
mood.
not
We had
snappy.
Old Dominion coming the next
know,
day,
I
and,
know.
and Kevin was acting like
Grumpy Kev.
somebody killed his dog.
"Come,
It was
Grumpy
fine.
Kev."
Actually, we sat around and we watched the home run derby. Phil and I. It was fun.
How did it? Who won, by the way?
I don't know. I left after Otani lost in the third
Really?
tie-breaking round, which was unbelievable.
That was disappointing.
He should have won.
He had 13 seconds to hit a home run against Juan Soto, and he'd have made it to the next round, but he didn't do it.
Oh yeah,
So it was exciting. Someone tell us who won.
mailbag.
Thank you. Let's do it.
We have 3 today.
Great one. This came actually right after the last podcast.
Yeah, Monica G. Thank you, Monica G. Just finished listening to the podcast. I admire the mayor and you tremendously to put yourselves in front of a crowd where you know you are going to receive some heat. I agree with the mayor 100%. I listen to the podcast for guidance. It truly helps. Thank you. Keep up the great work.
Time out. Did she say she listens to this for guidance?
Yes.
Yeah, she did.
Whoa.
She did, Jill. That's what she said.
Who would ever?
Okay.
And I like this line the best. I agree with the mayor 100%. I love that
I
line.
mean, when does that ever happen?
It's a
right? You're
perfect
like,
line. Like, it's a beautifully written line.
That should be like on your in your conference room.
I agree.
I agree with the mayor 100%.
Phil should say that
They
shit
should
way
give that
more
to people
often.
when they come into the
Phil,
office.
Phil.
Just say this.
I want you to like memorize this line. I agree with the mayor 100%.
Are you kidding?
I
That's
don't
like-
know who this is, but her life has gone astray.
Yeah.
If this is her guidance, we have a big problem, you guys.
I agree with the mayor 100%. We just have to practice that.
I agree with the mayor 100%.
I
It's really
like the
easy.
fact that
It
she put,
flows.
I admire the mayor and you.
And
See,
you.
She was like,
Was she talking to you,
she was
too?
talking about me.
Yeah.
Look at that. That never happens.
I thought that was a typo.
When am I admired?
It was a typo.
All right. Thank you, Monica G.
I think I admire the mayor tremendously. I think that's
That's what she meant.
Yeah.
Not and you.
Yeah, and you. Yeah, the and you was just out
So
there.
now you guys
because
just
it didn't really
changed-
make sense.
You just flip the words around to fit whatever
Yeah.
you guys
It
are
doesn't
looking
really
for.
make sense
Wow.
reading it like
I admire the mayor tremendously. Great. And I agree with the mayor 100%. Thank you,
that
Monica.
reads better in your mind, right?
Yeah, I think it's really like one of the best mailbags we've ever had.
because the and you doesn't make any sense.
No, it's just out there.
I
It
feel
just
like you
makes
changed
no
the
sense.
original message was something like, "Hey, the volume isn't high enough, and I can't hear you guys." And you changed it.
No,
to,
I can't hear Phil's. I can't hear Phil.
Yes, yeah.
All right,
All right, let's go. Next one. This one,
Joanne H.
somebody that doesn't like fireworks. Welcome to the club, Joanne H. All right. Well, I appreciate the effort of having fireworks displays in each district and the fire chief putting a fireworks ordinance on Facebook. It was once again way too much this year to tolerate. The entire area went crazy. I had stuff hitting my siding and the air was so thick with sulfur I couldn't even watch the Hessville display from the back porch and I couldn't breathe.
Wow.
A neighbor was setting off tons of stuff in the alley and hot embers were landing on garages and yards. Saturday the 3rd was horrendous. They set off illegal bombs one after another. Car alarms were going off, dogs were freaking out, and I got a headache. I called 911 on the 4th about the alley incident. As soon as I told the dispatcher why I was calling, he wasn't interested. Even after I explained, he never asked me for information. I had to give him my name and address, and then he hung up. I doubt he even advised Hammond Police Department of my call.
Dramatic.
I cannot understand what anybody was thinking when the ordinance was established. Why do we have to endure all this insanity for 10 days? I feel bad for the folks who have to get up early and go to work. Besides, they could care less what the hours are as every night as they do it whenever they want. Saturday, a bomb went off at 1 a.m. and again at 3 a.m., and I had earplugs in. Maybe this ordinance was okay years ago, but today, when we are already dealing with climate change, air pollution, not to mention the danger of fire, this ordinance needs to be revisited. Kevin Smith.
Yes, let me just real quick address that because there's always a misconception that somehow the city has something to do with what she refers to as the ordinance. An ordinance is a local law, right? In reality, cities have no control over this, Joanne. It's your people down, your favorite people down at the state legislature and the supermajority down there that will not change the fireworks law. So the mayor, as the mayor stated on the show, he hates fireworks. He wants them to go away. If the city council passed an ordinance that was more restrictive than what the state tells us we can do with fireworks, it would be struck down and it would be useless.
Our attorney general would sue us.
Yeah.
He would
say,
do it
you
with
can't do
glee.
that. We want fireworks.
Yep.
So could you do something like in Illinois where they closed the liquor stores down early during COVID?
Liquor stores are also regulated by the state
Yeah,
and the
county
county.
food
Yeah,
state.
county
Right.
county commission and then the state.
Yep.
So
Do
the
we
answer to that,
that's-
Jill, is no.
The answer
Okay,
is
thank
no.
you.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Sounds like you're a lawyer, Kevin. Are you a lawyer?
No, we have no local control. I mean, we all get complaints like this. Phil probably does
All
you
the
know,
time.
Mayor does. I know all the time at City Hall, and you're kind of like, call the legislature.
I actually
call the
this
governor.
year took a different approach because people are like, Mayor, what are you going to do about people setting off fireworks against state statute? And I said, nothing. And they're like, what? Like, you're saying nothing? Yeah, nothing. These People downstate make all these bombs legal. We sell hundreds of millions of dollars worth of these every year, and then people are shocked when they blow them off at the hours they're not supposed to. No, I'm not sending my cops out there. That's crazy. I want to get rid of them personally. I hate them. I wish we could outlaw them in Hammond. I would be the first person to do so in the state of Indiana, but we can't. So call your legislature, call your governor, tell them that you're sick and tired of this, because we can't do anything locally. It's impossible. It's like railroads with us. We can't do anything locally.
I'm hoping
like
it's
liquor.
taking a turn. I really do.
I think
really
I'm
hope
sick
it's
of
taking a
it. I
turn.
really am. It's dirty. By the way,
Getting
not
worse
to
and
mention
worse.
the air is disgusting
Yep.
at night. The ignorance of the people blowing off these bombs. They do. They'll go off right in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. Bam! Like,
Yep. People do them illegally in parks. I saw a picture of a burned out garbage can yesterday that was burned out by fireworks.
burned out garage.
Not to mention what it's doing to animals. I mean, it's
How about
just
this? The amount of trash generated by these fireworks, it's so disgusting, and we have to pay that. The city of Hammond.
Non-recyclable.
We don't get a penny off these sales, and we have to pay for all the disposal of all the garbage.
I was talking to a gentleman at Public Works yesterday, and he said, I've never had this much garbage after a 4th of July. He said one truck, he filled up one big Public Works truck from one park
MLK, right?
of garbage.
It was
garbage.
MLK was so dirty.
Yeah.
After the 4th, it
Fireworks.
was disgusting.
So-
So I think we made it clear to Joanne we can't touch it, and we hate it also. I'm sick and tired of the fireworks industry. I'm sick and tired of the garbage and the noise, and I wish we could do something about it.
Yeah, and we don't have any control. Can't put taxes on it. You've even said, hey, give me some local control to at least tax it, and I'll give money to the fire department.
So we
or
could
give
at
money
least
to
break,
public,
how
break
about
even. Right?
We break even. Like, it cost me probably an extra $500,000 a year to throw away all the discarded fireworks. So give us some money so we could at least break even on this. We're losing money because of this.
In Indiana, unlike in Illinois, cities and cities and towns can't tax.
I would be interested to know how many states actually legalize fireworks and how many don't.
Yeah, we're one of the few that's legal.
Yeah, because
But we'll arrest you for a joint. You have marijuana in your pocket, you go to federal prison.
Blow up nine mortars.
Yeah,
They
no
could
problem.
kill somebody, could
Yep.
go through somebody's chest or blow their head off. Go have at it.
Yep. Don't smoke that
All
joint.
right, number
Don't smoke
3.
that joint. Don't eat that edible. Susan K. This is a thank you card because it's something that Councilman Tyler and myself did in the 3rd District, which was, I talked about it a little bit, traffic control. Just can't thank you enough, Mr. Mayor. The difference in our neighborhood is unbelievable. Since the closures at State Line, it is quiet, clean, and so much safer. Thank you for your efforts to make this happen. Susan.
And Scott K.
There you go. Susan and Scott K. There you go.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
mailbag.
And yeah, that talks about what you talked about, Mayor, and this is something that I know mayors across the country probably deal with, and that's traffic control through neighborhoods. And what do you do when there's cut through traffic and people want to live in a quiet neighborhood?
Yep.
And
Yours neighborhood was one of those. And
Yeah,
we fixed it.
originally.
We fixed it early on.
it's very quiet now. Thank you.
I want to talk about the hashtag for tonight's show.
All right.
You know, since we got Phil in the studio, before we get ready for the real guest, we're still playing the opening band, right?
Yeah. By the way, this is the opening band, the undercard.
Okay, I don't even know how to respond.
Hey,
I
Phil.
think first of all, we need to talk a little bit about Old Dominion,
Thank you.
right?
Okay, but like, there's this hashtag trending right now. I noticed on Twitter it's trending. Hashtag save Phil's job.
Hashtag whistleblower, Tom. You're not listening. Okay, apparently you guys
Hashtag
aren't.
whistleblower.
Yeah.
Hashtag save Phil's job. Could I hold on? I got corporate counsel in here. I mean,
What do you? Well, let me ask you. What are you whistleblowing?
Yeah,
Listen,
that's interesting.
I announced to everybody that the mayor of the city was not bringing country music acts to Hammond.
Oh, that was whistleblower.
That was an official, like, everybody needs to know this is a problem for us.
It was as if you had a whistle in your mouth.
Exactly. And,
so
you know,
you're exposing some type of fraud from myself,
specifically from you.
right?
Did you
And,
hear about if you make up a whistleblow that you could just maybe save your job?
Again, I'm not bringing up any other local person that might be.
Where did you get this idea from?
Might be allegedly whistleblowing to
Yeah.
try to save his job.
Exactly. Let's just, all I know is this is going to work.
So did you get this, Phil? Did you get this advice from Spiros? I mean, just be straight up with me.
You
Him
can't
and-
reveal your sources.
You
Phil.
know what? Yeah, that's a great point because this ends up in court. Spiro and I will be like together, hand in hand,
Like a joint
fighting
whistleblowing?
you
Really?
and the
Really?
board for the SSCVA. So no, I'm not going to
Can
tell
you
you
believe
anything.
this shit, Kevin? My goddamn chief of staff's working with Spiros. Now they're calling me a whistleblower.
Now he's saying he's a whistleblower.
All right, let me ask you a
He's
question.
blowing the whistle.
Kevin, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, let's say that tonight goes horrible, like, and like there's no crowd.
no
and-
Why
way.
does he always go into
I know
that?
this
What?
is going to be a great show.
Yeah.
But Kevin, like, okay, let's just say tonight
Okay,
doesn't go as
hypothetically.
planned. And Phil hung his hat, his cowboy hat on this event,
Oh,
right?
we should have worn one.
Right? Like, can I just fire him tomorrow morning if it doesn't go well?
Your chief of staff is at will, Mayor.
Literally.
You could fire him now. You could fire him next, whatever you want.
You know what? I have a feeling Spiro will hire me immediately because we're on the same page as far as what you're trying to do.
Whistleblowing.
Yeah.
So, like, tomorrow morning, it could be the last day. Like
right now, you could just say right now you're fired.
Well, okay,
Really?
let's slow down a little, guys. Let's
Really?
reel it in just a little
Say
bit.
pump the brakes, Phil.
Yeah.
I love it when you say pump the brakes.
Pump those brakes.
All right.
So, anyways, let's talk about Old Dominion tonight.
Exciting.
I know, Phil. Actually, you are very confident about tonight's show.
I am really.
You're not worried about the hashtag that's trending.
Not at all.
Like,
Tonight's
why are
gonna
you
be
so
amazing.
confident about Old Dominion?
Well, first of all, it kind of comes full circle that you and I think, found out who Old Dominion was at the exact same time.
They were hitting on our wives.
They were.
Yeah.
It was September 2018. We were in Arizona at a resort, and Kelly and Marissa and I think Rose Kennedy were out.
Rosie, right.
And it was early on, and there was a band that was kind of getting ready for their show that night, right? And Kelly was like, "Hey, I know these guys. These are Old Dominion. Let's take a picture." So she puts out the selfie.
It was like a sound check, right?
Yeah, they were just kind of warming up. It
Right.
wasn't the show or anything like that. Nobody else was out there, by the way.
It was like a empty poolside, and the girls happened to be chilling at the pool.
That's
and then
it.
this band starts playing because they were playing the concert that night, and it's Old Dominion, right?
Right.
This is way before they were big, right?
That's
There's the photo.
for sure. They had just really released a few songs that had become popular. But I didn't know them. I don't know if you did at the time. I had no clue. In fact, when Kelly said, "Oh, I took a picture at Old Dominion," I was like, "Is that some group that toured with like Waylon Jennings back in the day?"
Right.
Or
Wow, that's a throwback.
listen,
Yeah,
I thought it
Merle
was
Merle Haggard?
Dominion, right?
just because the name Old was in there. I guess I just assumed. I don't know, but anyhow, so
I mean,
it
it
was-
is the state motto of Virginia.
Well, that's where they're from. That's why they're called Old
Oh,
Dominion.
go
Obviously.
figure.
Oh, no way.
Four out of 5 are from Virginia.
Oh, I didn't know
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fun fact.
So, or they're tied to Virginia in some
See,
way.
I got-
That's-
I would think
things
so
in
if you're
common.
called Old Dominion.
I lived in Virginia for 4 years.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are
you
you
should
in
bring
the
that up.
band?
If
You
you
lived in
talk to
Old
them,
Dominion.
I lived in Virginia, in Newport News for 4 years.
if you talk to them this evening, because you usually
Yeah.
talk to the acts, you should bring that up though. Seriously.
Good
I will.
point. Good advice.
call.
Phil.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. You're welcome. That's
you.
free one.
Thank you, Phil. So anyway, they were hitting on our wives.
So hitting our wives, and then that night, obviously, they played. We saw a little bit of them. It's like, man, these guys are really freaking good. Like these guys are legit. They could turn into something big. And so fast forward to and by the way, this group was 3 out of 5 were songwriters for a lot of the big folks like Luke Bryan, Blake Shelton, Chris Young. Like they were writing songs for all these big artists that were becoming famous off of these guys, their songwriting. So they got together and they basically said, hey, why don't we make a band and we'll go around and we'll play the songs we wrote for these other big acts. So it was almost like a cover band almost. Even though they wrote them, the other groups made them famous, so it wasn't their songs. And that's how they started. And then fast forward to today, they're right now they're number 5 on the country music charts. Their new song that was released last month, I Was on a Boat That Day, is super popular. Their new album's coming out relatively soon. They've got a bunch of hits. They won Vocal Group of the Year last year in country music awards, and they had Song of the Year.
And by the way, and another thing, Phil, we got 2 great openers that are coming right before them.
I don't know a lot about Walker County, but somebody told me they played the what's it called?
Windy City Smokeout?
Windy City Smokeout, and they said they were amazing.
Oh, that was just last week, right?
Yeah.
Last weekend.
Yeah.
And they're very attractive. I don't know if you saw
Well,
the
there's
picture. of
nothing
them.
wrong with that.
You
Bring
know.
them in.
Hold
Yeah.
it. There's a women's group?
It's 2 ladies.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got to check this out.
Uh-huh.
So they're playing, that's the first band?
I believe.
No, they're the second one.
There's one
Second.
from
Who's number 1, Jill?
the local
Johnny
one.
James is from, I think, Hooper?
Local guy?
Oh, yeah, he's a local guy.
See, we usually try to, for those of you out there, the fest starts tonight. Well, the fest concert series starts tonight with Old Dominion, as you can imagine. We try to have a local band on as the opener of the opener.
As allowed.
Usually, like, the band that plays right before the main act is picked by the band, but usually we try to add one local band on there, and we have local acts playing every night except for Saturday, actually, and that was by request of the band for COVID-related reasons that Sammy Hagar and the Circle are playing basically by themselves. So
We're still trying, but
Well, you get a lot of people talk about festival and they say, why are you always getting bands that are older that have been around a long time? We actually are bringing a band tonight that has the number 5 song in the country.
yeah,
I don't think that's happening. Phil, we were talking about that last night. We have not gotten somebody that has had a top 10 song currently as they're coming in.
beg to
Obviously,
differ. I beg to
Okay,
differ.
who do you got?
Latin night we always have current stars.
All right,
always,
let's see what people.
always.
There you
Latin
go.
night
All
we
right.
always have like
I don't
we
follow
literally
the top 10 of Latin music.
I agree
should
with you.
Get
Don't.
on that.
I agree you don't, but I think if you talk to Eve and Eileen, they'll tell you that the bands that we bring in during Latin night are always
hot.
like they're usually current.
That's
and-
good to know. All right, I
Well,
wasn't
that's
thinking
good.
about Latin night.
Yeah, I know, and it's harder because we're not familiar with
Right,
that
right.
genre. But yeah, the Latin acts we usually bring in, like I said, Los Tucanes de Tijuana. They have a star on the Las Vegas Strip, and they're currently like
Very
just
cool.
huge. So
All right.
This also is the first stop on their tour for Old Dominion.
I saw that they're going to Grand Rapids next.
Yeah.
I love Grand Rapids.
So wouldn't you think they're going to come out like their first time they've played in probably a year and a half or
Yeah.
since COVID
Pretty
began?
exciting, right?
They're going to be ready to roll.
This
man.
is their
It's gonna be a
first show
blast.
In front of a crowd?
First show.
Wow.
Post COVID?
First show in
Wow.
front of a crowd
Yep.
post-COVID?
I
This is
did
gonna
not
be
That's a
realize
reason
that.
to come out.
Absolutely. And
That's great.
that's why I think it's going to be blown out tonight. There's
And
gonna
we
be a
have some
huge
pictures
turnout.
here of they're loading in already.
Yeah. look
Yeah,
at that.
that's really cool. And by the way, just so everybody that's listening, festivaltolakes.com if you want VIP experience passes. Parking passes obviously still available. All kinds of information on festivaltolakes.com. And you can go there and check it out.
Well, Phil.
Yeah.
I hope this isn't your last day.
Well, I
this-
hope my lawyer doesn't tell you otherwise. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm hoping this isn't your last appearance on Lockpod because I love bringing you on. I think you're good.
I like the shirt. Very festive.
Yeah, it is. It's a pink cowboy shirt.
This is I wore this because it's country night, and I assume the real cowboys back in the day wore
Really?
shirts just like this.
They wore pink cowboy shirts back
I mean,
in
if
the day.
you saw a cowboy coming up wearing this,
I would.
you were scared.
Yeah,
You were going.
literally. Like,
You were running the other direction.
Yeah.
It says that. It
Freaked
says, like,
out.
stay away from look out, I'm coming.
it means badass. That's very comfortable with the sexuality.
This exudes John
It's
Wayne.
definitely a repellent for sure.
I don't know
It
what that
might mean
means.
you got a hitch in your giddy up, Phil.
I mean, I thought I was going to have the loudest shirt in the room, but look at the mayor's 5K shirt.
By the way, I have my 5K shirt
You
on.
did.
Festival of the Lakes 5K.
How did
I
that
did.
go?
I did pretty well. I think.
Mayor kicked ass.
I
Mayor,
did.
yeah, Mayor like beat his proposed or his estimated time by like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I thought I'd come in at 31.
I
30,
run a lot
which is
more
where I
than the
came
mayor
in
does,
slowly.
and I had to beat him by 3 minutes based on age, which made sense.
And by the way, you
and I
thought
didn't do it.
You thought you were going to have that easily,
Oh,
right?
for sure I did. I was
Right.
like, oh, I've seen Mayor run. He's not fast.
3 minutes.
I couldn't believe it. Like, first off, I didn't go out the night before because they always do this to me. They set up a big party the night before, thinking that I'm going to go drink and stay out late. So I skipped
Like
the party.
Phil and I did.
I skipped the party. I drank water all night.
Look at you.
And then I showed up the next day.
Champion.
And I busted. Like
Did you carbo load too?
I did. I did actually carbo load the night before, and then I ran like a freaking gazelle. I was gazelle-like.
Gazelle-ish for you and for me.
Gazelle-ish. Gazelle-ish. That was my nickname that day.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word gazelle,
Gazelle-like.
but you
You were
ran,
moving.
You ran really fast.
I did.
You did. Actually, you angered a lot of employees because I think a lot of people thought they were going to
win.
get an easy day
Yeah, we
off.
sucked them
Like,
in.
oh, I've seen him run. This is going to be simple.
How about this? So there's this fireman that was in front of me on the last part. He's a big dude, and he was younger than me, so I knew he had to beat me by a couple minutes. Mm-hmm. And he was in front of me, like, let's say 50 yards in front of me when I came around the final bend, and all the guys at the firehouse right there are like, get him, he's right in front of you. I freaking sprinted, like, and he had nothing left. I passed him, and I literally had zero left when I passed him. If he had any energy left, he
And
would have
he,
used
50 more yards. and
I
it
beat
was
him by like 10 seconds. This poor guy like lost out on 24
in
hours
front of
off.
his in front of his guys
us.
in front of the crew.
He's a great guy too. I wish I knew his name off the top of my head. But I have 1,000 employees.
Well,
so.
Mayor, good job on the 5K.
Yes, sir.
Phil, thanks for coming in.
Thanks you, Phil.
Yep.
Chat
Good to see
wants
you. I'll
to
see you
know how
tonight.
many people
I'll see
beat
everybody
Mayor.
tonight.
How many people beat Mayor?
Yeah, that's
Approximately 10.
Yeah,
I think it was
7
less.
to 10.
Yeah.
might have been.
And I have a lot of employees. So
not
that-
many.
No,
That's
no.
the best year I've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's beat the mayor by so many minutes. It's
Right,
not
right.
just
Right,
beat
right,
the
right.
mayor.
A lot of them
So-
beat me by straight time, but I'm 52. You can't I'm racing against police officers in their 20s. That's not fair. So we
Yep.
put a handicap in there, and with the handicap, not many
So
people
congrats
can.
to those few that beat the mayor on
Yep.
time.
Phil.
I'll see everybody tonight.
Yes.
Yep.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Yeah.
Take it
Good
easy,
job,
buddy.
Phil. Yep.
Take your pink country hat or country shirt, cowboy shirt.
Take your whistleblowing self out of here, Phil.
yeah. Tell Spiros I said hey.
So he's headed to breakfast right now.
Yeah, Spiros will
So
be right there.
whistleblower breakfast.
All right.
All right, we're going to do
Thanks,
ads
buddy.
real quick, and we're going to get Mike Schmuhl in here.
Mike
which
Schmuhl
real
is going to be
exciting.
back on the air after. For those of you that aren't familiar, Mike Schmuhl was the campaign manager for Pete Buttigieg's campaign, and he is now currently the state Democratic Party chairman in Indiana. So
So
it's a
listen to
great
some
guest.
ads, and Mike Schmuhl will be in here in a minute.
All right, Jill, why don't you go ahead and do your part?
All right, you are listening to Left of Center, where we cover everything from politics to important events of the day in the Midwest and the nation, all while having way too much fun while doing it. If you can't get enough of us, follow us on Facebook at Left of Center Podcast or on Twitter at LockPod. If you can't listen in live, you can download our episodes on the Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio apps. Just search Left of Center and look for the red and blue logo. Don't forget to subscribe and rate on every one of those applications. If you want to advertise with us, send an email to steve@lockpod.com.
Power in America is Northwest Indiana's source for a trusted electrical professional. If you're a developer looking for a large-scale electrical contractor, Power in America can help take the guesswork out of finding a professional you can trust. Their select network of electrical contractors are committed to employing local electricians that have successfully completed a certified apprenticeship training program. Registered with the Indiana Department of Labor, all employees are held to a high standard of professionalism, expertise, and knowledge, and all of their contractors are licensed, bonded, and insured. If you would like more information about your electrical needs, visit Powering America today at CertifiedElectrician.com.
Damn, that was good.
Thank
wow.
you, John.
Good job,
Wow,
man. Good
you're
job.
finishing the season off with a bang.
He did it because, Chairman Mike comes walking
That
in.
was intimidating.
Kevin doesn't want to do it.
I was like, don't screw it up.
Calumet Breweries. Are you tired of the same old shandy?
Yes.
I agree. That's something
Who
we
isn't
should,
this time of
we
year?
should ask Phil Taylor on that. Introducing Goose Island 312 Lemonade Shandy, combining the flavors of 312 and an Italian lemon ice. This is an easy drinking shandy that hits a spot no matter if the lemonade stand is open or not. Try it at the Festival of the Lakes this year, or ask it for it at your favorite bars and retail stores. These beers and cheers are brought to you by Hammond's very own Calumet Brewery since 1933, reminding you to enjoy responsibly.
Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outside patio, perfect for enjoying its finely crafted ales, lagers, and chef-driven food. Brewing equipment on their production site offers a unique backdrop for your private event like bridal and baby showers, birthdays, reunions, and corporate events. Conveniently located just off of 8094 and the Kennedy Avenue South exit, come on by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu. Go check them out.
Bernie Grizzolia's Concrete was voted #1 in the Times Best of the Region in 2020 and 2021. And they specialize in all of your concrete projects. Grizzolia's has been using the original cement finish in the California style since 1972, and also
forget
offers
to do
stamped
that.
and colored concrete. I usually do it with more flourish, but for more information or a project quote, call Grizzolia's at 219-659-4127.
It's like a footnote. I usually do this with more flourish.
That's 219-659-4127.
Tri Electronics wants to be your complete communications provider. Tri Electronics has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years and can provide your business, John,
End to end.
Sorry, I'm trying to produce over here.
communication solutions. For more information, call Tri Electronics today at 800-722-6793 and tell them Lockpod sent you.
Challenger Learning Center of Northwest Indiana. Explore space in a new way every day. Join the Challenger crew. Challenger Learning Center of Northwest Indiana is looking to hire a part-time STEM educator to facilitate simulated space missions for the upcoming school year. To view a full job description and application details, visit clcnwi.com. That's clcnwi.com.
And finally, our last sponsor, Tortillas Nuevo Leon, is the gold standard of Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. The Martinez model for success has always been responsive customer service, great tasting products with an authentic Mexican taste, and high quality standards. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón.
Here we go.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia. De todo corazón.
All right.
Mr.
Back to the
Chairman.
show.
Mr. Chairman, welcome to Lockpod Studios.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
I'm
Kevin.
doing
Mike
great.
Schmuhl in the house, man.
Yeah,
This is
I'm
something.
here.
For those of you that aren't familiar with Mr. Schmuhl, he is currently the Indiana State Democratic Party chairman, recently elected in March.
March 20th.
And then he is also, before that, he was the campaign manager for Pete Buttigieg's very successful. I mean, it wasn't ultimately successful. but
Groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking. Successful
Well,
enough
that
to
for
get
an
him into the
adjective.
successful enough to get him into the cabinet.
Wow.
Presidential election.
And the only guy I personally know that's had an article written about him in Vanity Fair.
Ooh, there you
So
go.
that's like
good.
that's
well, I'll
big
tell you
time.
guys, this is really funny. I was in the green room, and great accommodations, Kevin.
Thank you.
My last green room was Las Vegas debate with
Really?
Bernie,
Wow.
Warren,
Wow.
Bloomberg. You know, all those cats.
Really?
Klobuchar, Biden. Oh yeah.
Which
Yeah.
Bernie? I
That's
met-
the one.
What a
where,
change.
That's the one where Warren just destroyed Bloomberg.
Yes,
Remember that?
that's
And he was
right.
like, at the end, was like,
He was done.
yeah, yeah.
What's up? I met
So that's
Bernie.
the last green
That
room
is
I
so-
was in. And
well,
now I'm here on
hey,
Lock
congratulations.
right.
This is the next green.
This
I
is
went
the
from
big-
Las Vegas presidential
That's right,
debate
that's right.
to Lockpod's
God
green
damn,
room.
To
Dang
driving
right.
on 94,
That's right.
listening to Old Dominion to come to Lock.
Is that reality or what?
What's Bernie like in person? Is he,
Bernie?
Yeah, I met him. He seemed grumpy. Like he was grumpy with me. the day I
Bernie
met him.
is he's his own guy, and
Yeah.
he's super focused on what he's doing.
He's just,
and
like,
his
rigid
mission.
in his-
and he shows up, boom.
He's
and
not.
he
I'm not
just-
here to be friends. I'm not
he's
here
just- He's on a mission. He knows his message. He's known his message for 30
Mhm.
years,
Right.
and he just comes and he delivers it.
I like Bernie.
And-
He
and
started off as
boom.
Mayor
as a
Burlington.
mayor. I like
Yeah,
any
he did.
successful
Mayor
elected
of
official.
Burlington. Yeah, that's right. That's
when they
right.
start off as mayor, that's why Mayor Pete and I always got along very
That's
well.
right.
Like we have that in common.
Yep.
Like, I've
Yeah,
always,
mayors understand mayors.
Right.
Exactly.
And
I
mayor
think it's
issues.
great training for higher office. I really do. And to see Bernie be very successful, obviously.
Absolutely.
Mayor Pete, now
Yep.
Secretary Pete, be
Yep.
very successful.
Yep.
It's inspiring for other mayors across the
Absolutely.
state. We have great mayors in
We
the
do.
state, as
we
you
do.
know.
For sure.
Yeah.
It feels like this is the Notre Dame side of the table.
It's
is
sort
that-
of working out that way.
It's a little intimidating.
Yeah. When did you graduate from ND, Mike?
2005.
2005.
Yep.
So I was
Yep.
a few years ahead of you.
Okay.
You were undergrad there,
Undergrad.
right?
Yep.
Right. So
Yep.
you got there right as Marissa and I were leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I met Marissa the first day
At
of
law school. First
Yeah.
day.
First
There
day.
And you're a South Bend guy.
I am.
Correct? So
Born
like,
and raised. I'm a total townie.
What school?
Yeah. I went to St. Joe.
St. Joe
High School.
Okay.
That's where I met Pete. So you met your wife first day of law school. I
Uh-huh.
met Pete for a tour of high school.
Get out of
He
here.
gave the tour.
I was an 8th grader,
Oh.
and he was a freshman, and he
Get
gave me a
out.
tour of high school.
That's so
How
crazy.
about that for faithful?
That's
Right?
so
Yeah.
crazy.
So I've known him since 1997.
By the way, that high school should probably do something for the two of you. Right?
Yeah.
Or at
You'd
least
think
for,
that
at
would
least
be
for
like,
Pete.
Like the Buttigieg wing, and then like a little part. This is the Mike Schmuhl section of the Buttigieg wing, right?
Well, it's
You
also
guys
we
made
also
music.
got some other folks that you know, Schellinger,
Yeah, man.
Kernan.
Yeah, yeah.
those
All
guys.
from St.
By the
Joe.
way.
All from St. Joe.
And,
Yeah.
first off, Jim Schellinger and I are very good friends to this day. But Joe Kernan was one of my early heroes in politics.
Amazing guy.
Yeah, man.
I think about him all the time.
I do too. I
And
love him.
I told this when I travel around the state and spread the gospel, as I say. 2004, last Democratic governor was Joe.
Yeah.
So we're coming
true.
up on 20 years
Wow.
Yeah, tell me
Think
about it.
about that.
Republicans
That was when I got into
in
office.
charge.
I mean, I
Yeah.
came in and we had a Democratic governor, and I was
We had
like,
a majority in the House.
I would go down to the
Right.
governor's mansion. I haven't
Right.
been in the governor's mansion in a couple decades. Like, I'm not exactly welcome there.
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't
on
have gray
Lockpod.
hair last time I was
Right.
there. We didn't have Lockpod. We
Right.
didn't need Lockpod. We were good.
I know, right? But yeah, Joe Kernan, thing I loved about him, Navy,
Yeah.
obviously Navy. He was
Yep.
a Navy pilot. He was
Yep.
a catcher in baseball,
Yep.
baseball guy, and
Yep.
a mayor. Like I loved him.
Awesome guy.
Yeah, man.
Awesome guy.
So, Mike, a couple of the things I noticed, other guys that you've worked for, like I noticed you worked for Tim Russert for a while.
Yeah.
Meet the Press, which is
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Which
I'm a
reminds me
huge
of that
fan
a
of
little bit. Yeah.
Tim
Yeah.
Russert. I mean,
Yeah.
tragic loss, but I
Yeah.
mean, pretty cool to work for Meet the Press.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that was 2004. So it was my junior year. It was the DC program. So you could study abroad or you could go to Washington, DC.
Nice.
I did that.
Nice.
And I was an intern for Meet the Press, which is the longest running show on television.
They say that,
And they say
every
that.
week.
There you go. But unbelievable guy. And I think one of the last sort of great journalists that we've had, because things have become so partisan,
No
I would
kidding.
say. But somebody who was just, the son of a garbage man in
Yeah.
Buffalo.
That's awesome.
Just right down the middle. And he had always, what was fascinating being an intern for him was, well, number one, he's the most prepared person that I probably ever worked with. Just deep preparation for every single show. I mean, he would get to the studio at 3 a.m. and read the early advance copies of Newsweek and Time and all that stuff before the show on Sundays.
Wow.
And then what I remember, which was great about being an intern, was it was right when sort of email was becoming more of a thing, but things were very much paper based. So at the end of every show, we'd get like feedback from viewers.
Yeah.
And he would want to see how the stacks would shake out,
Oh, that's
like
cool.
positive, negative, neutral.
Really?
That's
And
when
if
you
the
had stacks
stacks
of
kind of
paper.
evened out, he was like, "All right,
Good show.
You
That's
you're
really
too
cool.
liberal. You're too
Really?
conservative." And he was like,
Good for him.
Let's just make it right in the middle.
Interesting.
Balls and strikes, hold people accountable. Just a great guy.
So fast
guy.
forward a little bit, right? You end up back in Indiana. You end up running Pete's mayoral campaign in South Bend.
That was the first time
Well,
we met,
before that, I worked for Joe Donnelly.
Oh,
I
in his
moved
real
home-
life, right?
Yeah, I moved home in 2009 to work for
As a
for
congressman.
And I was in the field office, and I was congressional staff
That
for
makes
like
sense.
7-8 months.
Before they
Worked with
gerrymandered the
Hodge.
second
Hodge
district.
With Hodge,
Oh, I
yeah.
love Hodge.
Great guy. He was my boss when I moved back.
Hodge
home
is
to
out of
South
Elkhart,
Bend.
right?
No,
Uh,
Hodge is in
Mishawaka
South Bend.
or like
Hodge is
South
in
Bend?
South Bend.
Okay.
now. Yeah. And so I worked with Hodge and Joe, and then Joe's coming up for re-election in 2010, and then he asked me to be his campaign manager, and I'd never worked on a campaign.
And that was the
in
real
my
life he
life.
won.
For the Senate.
For the House.
For the House.
2010.
I thought
so that's the Tea
he never
Party,
did
Tea Party wave.
But like I thought he bailed and ran in 2010 for U.S. Senate.
2012.
So 12 was
2012.
Senate.
He got
18.
gerrymandered out in 12, and that's when he
right,
ran for
that's right.
Senate.
I
And
keep
then
thinking
Brendan
it's-
Mullen.
you're right.
Brendan Mullen.
That's right. That's
ran for
right.
Congress in 12
And lost to
against
Walorski.
No kidding.
So I
Different
did
district,
2010. But you think about it back then, that was a decade ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Barron Hill, Brett Ellsworth,
Yeah.
Joe Donnelly. We had a 5-4 Democratic congressional
Yep.
delegation majority. And
But they
I ran it-
redistricted in 2011, don't
They
forget.
did, exactly.
And look what
so
happened.
We lost Michigan City,
Yep.
and we lost we lost Kokomo, Howard County,
Mm-hmm.
so auto workers. And so the district became, well, all of Elkhart, more rural counties, more rural communities.
More
became-
comfortable for
became,
the Republican,
more Republican.
Jackie.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
And
Yep.
upside of that, though, we got Joe as senator.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that was-
That,
Yeah.
was, that was the funniest part. You know, I
So-
remember talking to Mayor Pete back then. First off, when Mayor Pete first became mayor, I remember sitting down with you and Mayor Pete in Indianapolis, and we talked about being mayor. And
Yeah.
He was just brand new mayor then.
Yeah.
Little did I know, I was talking
Yeah.
to the team that would run for the presidency.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
It's
let's.
crazy.
I mean,
And I'm still sitting in the same spot. What's going on with me, Mike?
And little did I know at that time I'd be on Lockpod.
I know,
That's
right?
right. See all
Little
these
did I
things
know
that
we'd have Lockwood.
so let me. I want to
I'm
get
a
there.
podcaster now.
I want to get there, Mike. If you could. So
Yeah.
you're running mayoral campaigns, and all of a sudden, Mayor Pete says, I'm going to take a shot at this presidential thing, which is
Well,
kind of crazy for a mayor to take that
But
jump, right?
hold on, you're skipping though.
Sure.
He ran for national
State
chairman.
chair.
National.
Or I'm sorry,
chairman.
national chair, DNC.
Which
Yeah.
was huge at the time.
Yeah, it
like
was,
this is
yeah.
like, I think honestly, without him running for national chair, he probably can't run for president. He wouldn't be nearly as successful.
We
right?
talked
Yeah.
about that when he was running for national chair. We were like, he's planning something. He's got to be planning.
I never
something.
thought like that. I was just like, wow, like Pete's going for the major leagues here,
Mm-hmm.
like trying to be national. Like I remember talking to Mayor Pete back in the day, and I'd be like, how come you're not going to run for Congress? And he was like, I'm not really interested in serving in Congress. And he was never really focused on local. He was always focused on national, right?
Well, one thing that strikes me that other people have talked about, and even Pete, is I don't know if I've ever met anybody in my life who's been more successful at losing and coming up short.
Yeah.
He run, 2010, when I'm working for Joe,
Treasurer.
he ran for state
Yeah.
treasurer,
That's
treasurer
right.
against Richard Murdoch.
That's
when I-
who Joe beats 2 years later.
That's when I first met Pete.
So he
Right.
runs
Agreed.
for state
Us too.
treasurer.
Yeah, me too.
And he gets his clock cleaned. Really, he says that too. 20 points. Next year runs for mayor, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
wins.
And then runs for DNC chair. But what does he do there? He meets people all across the country.
Without a
Meets
doubt.
journalists.
Without a doubt.
Meets the party officials.
which
right?
is huge for Pete because he's
Which is
so
huge.
impressive, right?
Yeah, and so and then he's able to take those connections and those skills and then turn it into a run for president.
Yeah.
It comes
Very
up
cool.
short in the presidential race, but we ran a pretty good race.
You know
And
who
now
else
he's
lost a
secretary.
lot?
Unbelievable
Yeah.
race.
You know who else lost a lot?
Yeah,
Abraham Lincoln.
That's right.
yeah.
He
you
lost
go.
every race he ran for before he ran for president.
There you go.
He ran
There you
for
go.
Congress. He ran for Senate. Lost.
Well, I think one of the things we've talked
So
about
Pete
Pete,
Buttigieg is a lot like Abraham Lincoln.
There you go.
Right?
A little shorter.
A little shorter, yeah.
but I think we talked
Just
about
as
this
smart.
is don't be afraid of losing all the time because sometimes it opens doors to what happens in the
Oh,
future. So
Kevin, shut up!
Just
I
trying
know
to
where
make
you're
it
going
feel
with
good,
He's
Mayor.
trying to get in my head.
That's right. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of taking on some challenges. That's, by the way, that's a great picture. Why don't you tell us where that picture's from?
So this is a
If you know,
picture
Mike.
of Mike and
yeah.
Pete sitting in some breakfast counter.
Probably
That
in,
is
like,
in,
Iowa somewhere.
That's
Iowa.
in Mason City,
Iowa.
Iowa.
Good
Wow.
Which is where there's a couple things in Mason City. The day the music died, that's where the plane crash is.
Oh,
Oh,
no
no
kidding.
way.
And
American
also,
Pie.
That is where there's a Frank Lloyd Wright hotel.
guess. Oh no
designed
way!
Hotel there.
I love Frank Lloyd Wright.
So Mason City is a cool spot, and that's an ice cream parlor that we were at.
Yeah?
Birdsills.
So
yeah.
let's talk about the presidential campaign because I
Yeah.
mean that had, as a guy who is used to running mayoral campaigns in South Bend, all of a sudden you're on the national stage, right?
Yeah.
What's the I guess a couple questions. One, what's the moment where you felt like the campaign really had some serious traction? Mm-hmm. And then what was like the pinch yourself moment during the campaign?
I think we knew that this was something special in March of 2019, which is the CNN town hall
Yeah.
down in Austin, Texas. South by Southwest.
Right.
So we go down there, and Pete has we get 1 hour on CNN,
Yeah, I
and
remember
it's just like a town hall kind of format. With I think Jake Tapper is the moderator, but I should double check that. And the other two folks that had time that night, I believe, were John Delaney, congressman from Maryland, and Tulsi Gabbard.
Okay.
And so they go first, and then Pete has like the evening slot. And I remember a producer from CNN coming up to me with a tablet, and he's like, "Check this out." And it's like online engagement, viewership,
Oh, neat.
different metrics. And for the first 2 hours, it's sort of a static line. And then when Pete's on, it's just gradually going like this. And he's just like, "Check this out, man." And I was like, "Whoa," And by that
And at this
time,
point, do you have much of a
I mean,
staff?
our
or you...
staff's like 6 people,
Wow.
maybe. And so
You're thinking,
yeah,
I need more staff.
and so and then back then, a lot of people forget, and we went through a huge primary season, and then obviously it was like literally like COVID. It was like South Carolina, COVID, boom,
Right.
Biden's the guy. So we went through this whole thing that we're still, I think, kind of unpacking, and people are writing books and all that kind of stuff. But back then it was you have to reach a certain threshold to make the debate stage.
debates,
That's
right?
right.
So it was like you need 65,000 donors.
Right,
you
right, right.
need this much money.
I thought that was a good move, though. I really did,
Actually,
because there were so many candidates.
It was good, and,
Right.
and in retrospect, I mean, at the time, we were like, "Oh, this is going to be tough," but it's something to organize around.
But once you hit it,
you know what you need to do.
Once you hit it,
Once
though,
you
you
hit
loved
it.
it.
If you have a
Once hit it,
goal, it's
great.
like, oh, this is the goal.
and then
This is
we're
a great
making every
idea.
debate.
That's right.
And then we're feeling really good. But that was probably the moment where it was like, holy smokes,
We got some traction.
I remember
is,
at the moment. I mean, and I know this is
yeah.
a huge moment. You're going to probably talk about this, but when Pete talked about the porn star presidency,
Yeah, right.
that was
that
humo-
night.
That was humongous.
That was that CNN
I
night?
agree.
That was that night.
That was that night. That was it was like
That was
went
that
viral.
night. Yeah,
It
that
was like
that night.
I was sitting there like, holy crap! Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it
Yeah.
watching Pete. Like, because I remember when
Yeah.
Pete would do his book tour. He
Yeah.
did his book tour. It wasn't really that much fanfare around the book tour, right?
That was in
really
February.
early.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
That was still before he really took off, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I remember the stops he'd make, there'd be hundreds of people, but like
Yeah.
not ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But like after that town hall,
Oh, it was nuts.
it was viral.
Yeah, the thing about
Yeah.
Pete that I've always been so impressed with is just how good he is on his feet. In a situation where you need to answer like that, it's just
Yeah.
like, boom, he's
Yeah.
good. He's got that.
Yeah.
He's got that ability to be on top of the issues. Obviously, he knows the issues. He learns about them. But I was just like, you had to be like you went from South Bend to just like it's happening.
Oh yeah,
all over.
I mean, I will tell you, our first office was in the Tower Building, downtown South Bend, which is right around from our courthouse, right there.
Yeah.
I've been
It's
there.
a small Gothic tower, and we had a nondescript office. Nobody knew what floor, what door, all this stuff, and it was probably a couple of these rooms this size. Our Wi-Fi was pretty crummy, so we had Wi-Fi hotspots to start the campaign.
John's like,
That
what?
sounds familiar.
I think we have that in here.
And so, I mean, talk about shoestring, right?
Right.
And so the first two folks who are really kind of working and organizing around this are me and Liz Smith, who's the communications guru pro in New York. And Liz and I are like yin and yang. I mean, she's like high-powered, in your face, New York politics, like full bore,
Is she still?
And I'm more like NPR, Mike.
We can see that.
Is she still like involved? Is she still involved in Buttigieg at all, or is
I mean,
she
I
still
think-
doing her own thing?
I think informally, but I think she's pretty much doing her own thing.
Right.
Yeah, and she has her own clients and all that kind of stuff. But she's amazing. I mean, she's a pro. And so we were really the first two. I mean, it was like kind of volunteer figuring it out.
And what was the max? What was the
putting it
most
together.
staff you had?
600, just under 600.
600 staff.
Yeah.
In how many months? How quick?
I mean, right. So that would have been. We would have peaked right before Iowa.
Okay.
So that
Which
would have
is
been
March,
January
right? Oh,
of
January.
2020.
Okay.
So we launched an exploratory in January of 19, and then January of 20 is the run up to the caucuses, and we're probably around 575 staff at that point.
You love Iowa, right? I mean, you guys did very well there.
Won it?
Love Iowa. Love
Right.
Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa's a lot like Indiana, right?
A lot like Indiana, 99 counties, a lot of small towns, one massive city in the middle, just
Right.
like us. So one big media market, but very similar dynamics. Small towns, manufacturing,
Rural.
good people,
Right.
rural,
Midwestern values, things like that.
Yeah,
so.
and so it was tailored. I mean, it was, our campaign, having sort of a Midwestern vibe to it was important. Klobuchar also was.
Yeah, she did well there.
She made gains sort of towards
Yeah.
the end and built a pretty good campaign.
Kind of like coolest event you found yourself at on the campaign
Oh,
trail.
interesting. Oh, that's a good one. Coolest event.
I like the Hollywood stuff you guys were doing. Like I'd see Pete hanging out with the actors and actresses. I was like, what the hell? This is amazing.
Did you get to go on those? Were you back at the?
We went to like the Late Show with Colbert, which was cool.
That's cool.
Similar green room as well. Kevin,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Colbert is a badass, isn't he?
He's great.
I love him. He's so
great.
smart.
He's great.
He's so
and a couple of his producers, I think, went to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And so in the green room, they
Nice.
came up and they're like, "Oh, we went to Notre Dame."
That's awesome, right?
It was cool.
That's cool.
I mean, one of the best. It wasn't like anything crazy, but the eve of the caucuses, we had this like rally at a local high school, and it was the Lincoln High School in Des Moines, and I remember that because their mascot is the Rail Splitters, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
But that was like, 1,500, 1,700 people, and that was pretty common at that stage. But you look at that and you think about where we came from, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like we can just fill a place like that.
That's
and
amazing.
people are just
In
like
another
there, in another state,
Right.
And we're on the eve of the caucuses. We feel really good, where we are.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of the moment when I was like, wow,
This could be
Pete,
something.
a full year of work led us to this very, night, and we're here.
Rewarding.
So
When you
Very
guys
rewarding.
first start, did you guys like literally just hit the road and go to Iowa? Just like, we're gonna go start meeting people in Iowa, like
yeah. I mean, our first visit was in Ames.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Ames,
Iowa
Iowa
Do you
State,
remember?
where
Do you
Iowa
remember
State
the?
is.
Do you remember the official that you met with? I imagine it was an official, right?
We had like a meet and greet in a coffee house in Ames.
Really?
With like
How many
40 people.
40.
Yeah.
Still.
Which is pretty good.
I love it.
I mean, also Iowans, like, they expect to meet their folks. They expect to
Right.
meet their
They know their
candidates.
role.
They want,
Yeah.
that's
And it's not
they probably
uncommon,
take it
like door to
seriously.
door. Like you answer your door and it's like,
It's
hey, I'm
pres-
Elizabeth Warren,
I'm running for president.
So fast forward to where you guys have to make the call to pack it in, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, probably one of the toughest decisions you ever had to make.
This is right before Super Tuesday, right?
Yeah, I think so. So, and I think if I'm
Right
not
after
mistaken,
South Carolina.
Klobuchar also did it same day. And so, take us through that if you can. I mean, without getting too deep in the weeds, but I mean, a tough decision, right?
Yeah, I mean, we did great out of the gate. So we did in Iowa. We did first, New Hampshire second, close with Bernie, Nevada third. So Biden got second in Nevada, and
That was Biden's comeback, right?
that was sort of the beginning of Biden's comeback.
South Carolina was,
and then South Carolina
Right.
was with Jim Clyburn and just his dominance in that state. So then we got fourth in South Carolina. Third was Tom Steyer.
That's right. Remember, he ran hard there, though.
Yeah, he did. And so we were like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we just didn't really see a path forward.
Do you guys get pressure? Like the DNC calling up saying, hey,
Not
what
the
do you guys?
DNC, no. I mean, it's really, it was Pete's decision. I mean, 100%, it's his campaign, his decision. We counseled them on kind of where we were with money and strategy and stuff like that. I mean, the key designation back then is in every congressional district around the country for these states coming up for Super Tuesday, if you don't hit 15%, you're not getting delegates. And so we sort of thought we were, pretty good in some places to hit that threshold to get delegates. Other places, what if we get 11 or 12 or 13%? Well, we're taking a chunk of vote away, but we're not getting any delegates. So we're not really sort of helping that process out. And so I think Pete just saw that and knew that it was time to close ranks.
And to get behind who the presumptive nominee was going to be at that time.
Yeah. And you're right, Kevin. I mean, around that same time frame, Pete endorses, Klobuchar endorses, and Beto O'Rourke endorses. And then what we did was we flew down to Dallas.
Yeah, I remember it was
where
Texas.
Biden was campaigning. And we had this, this endorsement at a small kind of chicken restaurant, outdoors.
Pretty amazing.
With string lights. And it was really emotional,
Yeah, because, you got your opponent that you're endorsing. It's tough, right? But at the same time, I'm sure, is there a feeling kind of in the field, because I'm sure you got to know everybody's campaign manager and staff, and is there a feeling like, look, at the end of the day, we got to beat Trump?
Yeah,
or is it
for sure? Absolutely. I mean, it's that, and Bernie was still in the race.
Yeah,
and I think I think Pete thought that Biden was the best suited to take on Trump and beat him, and he was right. I mean, and the other thing about that event, and people ask me, what's Joe Biden like and all this stuff, is Joe Biden came up to me and he just said, "How's your team doing? You ran a great campaign."
Good.
And it wasn't about him.
Nice.
It was about our campaign and this moment.
Because that's hard, yeah.
And that's incredible. I mean, he is a good person.
I agree with you.
So,
was there, like, during the primary, like, when we run in races, I'm like, we're one team, that's the other team, and there's like sometimes it gets hard feelings between the teams, and you guys are in a tough primary with multiple candidates. Was there like bad blood between the camps, or was it all pretty collegial?
It was all pretty collegial. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to.
There
ask
was that moment, right?
On
like
the team about
wasn't
that,
there some friction? Like Klobuchar went after Pete at one debate. I remember that was kind of weird.
There was a little bit of that. I mean, the debates were moments where there was kind of like little,
things
like
that came
side
out.
skirmishes or tiffs and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it was about who can take on Trump and who can beat Trump. And then I will say, since Biden, became the nominee, is president, that. I mean, he and his team have done a really good job of kind of bringing people together,
consolidating, getting people in. So, all right. So, we want to keep moving because there's a lot to talk about regarding you and the chairmanship. But one last question, one about what's happening in Indiana. I think that's important. But one last question before, I just wanted to find out, like, are you still in touch with Pete? Do you guys still talk? I mean, is it something that?
Yeah. We caught up this past weekend. Which was great.
He probably called and said, "You're gonna be on Lockpod, huh?"
And he's like, "Hey, I saw you're gonna be on Lockpod. Send my regards." We'll see how much pull
we'll
have.
Get
Pete
have
on
Secretary
Lockpod.
Pete next season. We wanted to get the chairman first. So.
That'll be the paid one. I know you guys talk a lot about the payment structure.
We're not there yet. Not there yet. The green room's all we got, Mike.
No, he's great. I mean, he loves the job. I mean, it's really a good fit for him. I mean, it's complex, it's big, it's 55,000 employees.
Wow.
It's a management challenge, it's strategy. But also we're at this moment, which we can talk about, guys, is infrastructure and jobs and how we can really reinvest in our economy.
And I want to talk about that because we're going to get to the jobs tour.
So he's feeling good.
Yeah, thank you. And so, Mike, obviously, you're our state chairman now, which I think a lot of people around the state are very excited about because of what you bring to the table based on the things you just talked about for the last 15 minutes, right? Why'd you want the job, and why do you think Indiana can actually make some strides from a Democratic Party standpoint?
Yeah. Probably the biggest reason why I took the job was I just feel that the state for the last decade has been unfair in terms of government. And that I believe that the people of this state deserve a fair government and a two-party government and a two-party strong government. I just think that when you have one-party control for too long and it's so dominant and you have super majorities, that you're going to get bad outcomes for people. It leads to, bad ideas, bad legislation, bad laws, bad outcomes.
And Mayor's seen it every year.
And we see
Mayor's seen it every year.
And we see it how it works with local government, but also we see a lot of the rankings. I'm tired of seeing Indiana 40 whatever for different health designations. It shouldn't be that way, and it shouldn't be acceptable. And I think that, with one-party control for too long, they've just sort of let it be acceptable.
Because no one's pushing the other way. Or the people that are pushing the other way don't have a real voice.
Exactly. And so there was that sort of factor. And I just believe federally, state level, local level, we need a more balanced government in Indiana. And the other thing is, and Mayor Tom and I have talked about this, is, in my lifetime, there's really been a split between the parties. Indiana hasn't been, completely one party for 40 years.
Right.
Yeah.
We had Evan Bayh, we had Joe Donnelly, Joe Kernan, Frank O'Bannon.
This isn't even going that far back.
Exactly. And so, for most of my life, I'm sort of sandwiched right between kind of, the old guard and then the young Dems that are coming up. And I sort of feel those dynamics where the young folks are, yearning for change and want to be involved and run for office and use their energy, and that's amazing. And then the other folks, we can build on their traditions and their ideas and their successes, and learn from them, to kind of get back into power around the state.
So, obviously you were very successful in Iowa going around with Mayor Pete. Do you sort of take the same approach to what you guys did in Iowa to what you're doing now with the jobs tour and, going around talking about the rescue plan? Yeah. I notice a lot more activity from the Indiana Democratic Party. That I haven't seen this much activity. I've been mayor 18 years. I haven't seen it in 18 years.
Yeah. No, I wanted to go on offense. I thought that for far too long, and I know my predecessors, and they're all really good friends of mine. But I just thought, especially recently, and we went through Trump and all that, which is just really difficult. But, I wanted to sort of have us stand up on our own 2 feet and talk about the issues and the policies that we care about and that we fight for every day, and not just respond to what the Republicans in charge are saying.
And bring it to people.
Right.
Which is great.
And not just saying, okay, here's what they're saying today. We're going to respond and say, that's right, or, oh, we like that, but a little bit, not as harsh.
And we got to see what you did at Wicker Park in Highland, and it was really cool, right? The American Rescue Plan Tour. And the thing I learned through you and your staff is that you're also going into Republican dominant areas and taking it to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so the rescue plan, which we just wrapped up about 10 days ago, was 25 counties with help from 40 counties.
There you are, man.
And
Speaking
then,
look at that.
There we go. Look at that flow. Yeah. Get a haircut.
I like those boots, man.
I have a haircut on.
And the boots.
tomorrow.
Great.
Yeah. Got the boots on now.
Yeah. Nice.
And then last week we had a couple great events to start to highlight the jobs plan and kind of what's being debated in Washington with Congressman Mervan and Carson. This week we're launching formally the jobs plan tour.
Nice.
And so we want to go around to a couple dozen counties again.
Good for you.
Some that we hit previously, new ones that want to organize around these ideas, and just to show what's out there. If you don't talk about it and you don't go and you visit with people, they're not going to know.
See,
especially in this media environment.
In the time that I've been mayor, I've seen the union vote, something that used to be very reliable for the Democratic Party, sort of melt away during 2010, 2012, 2014. And it seems to me like this jobs plan, I know you guys are going into union halls and talking to the union members. I think that you're really going to start pulling a lot of the union vote back into the party because of stances like that we're taking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, I want our message to be, we're a big, broad, welcome, open party. And we're talking about economic opportunity for everybody.
Yeah.
And then on their side, I want to show that they're trying to figure out who they are. Without Trump in office, it's all the way down the line. It's kind of an identity crisis. Is it Trump or not Trump? Is it, Elise Stefanik or Liz Cheney? Is it Todd Rokita or Eric Holcomb?
Right.
Is it the speaker or, some nutty state house member?
Right.
All the way down the line. There's so many of them. They're like, who are we?
That's a great point.
But we know who we are. And these are the policies and the things that we're fighting for. And using the popularity of these policies, popularity of Joe Biden, to go and talk about it with people.
Yeah, I think one of the things I saw in the or let me go this way. The American Rescue Plan, we obviously know that helped states, cities. We know that no Republicans that are in Congress in Indiana voted for it, yet only the 2 Democrats that are in Congress voted for it. Give me the difference between why rescue plans one way and why the jobs plan's even as important, if not more.
Yeah. I mean, so, and the funny thing about the rescue plan, Kevin, is it was the reason why our budget in this state was so successful and so bipartisan. And now what's incredible to me, maybe not incredible because I've been involved in politics for a while now, is the mailers that are going out from Republican legislators saying, look what I delivered for you. Internet, schools, wow, all this stuff. And it's, most of it's funded through the federal stimulus from Joe Biden.
Even the senators who voted against it are taking credit for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
As Todd Young and Mike Braun.
As Andre Carson says, they're not going to vote for it, but they're going to show up at the ribbon
That's
cutouts.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
And so, but to answer your question, Kevin, is the rescue plan is really to get us out of COVID fully. Vaccinations, money in people's pockets, direct aid to communities that lost so much over the last year and a half. So that's to get us out. It's really sort of an emergency measure that, is popular with 70% of Americans and 40% of Republicans.
And mayors.
It's life-changing.
And so, exactly.
In my role, we $51 million. And I'm telling you, we're going to build bridges, we're going to build streets, we're going to build stormwater, we're going to, all these things that generate jobs and improve our community.
Yeah.
And both of our U.S. senators voted against it.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to help the city of Hammond. They don't want to help the public schools that get hundreds of millions of dollars. It makes no sense at all.
And over the last decade, you know this a lot better than I do, but you've been restricted, right?
Yeah.
With
absolutely.
everything down in Indianapolis.
Absolutely.
And so, to have, we had to go through a global pandemic with so much loss and so much sadness to now get us to a place where we have to get out of this, and we have to get out of this together.
Mike, there's 2 sets of rules in Indiana, Democratic rules and Republican rules. They're really, and I mean, you just look at 6 years ago when Todd Young, he failed to get the number of signatures he was going to get which is a disqualifier for if I was a Democrat and I failed to get the required numbers of signatures, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be on the ballot, right?
Right.
But the state, election board, it's Republican dominated. It's just like, it's all right. You missed a
gave
couple
him a pass.
signatures. They gave him a pass, which is unheard of. It's just two sets of rules. A set of rules for Republicans, set of rules for
Yeah,
Democrats.
it was clear he didn't have the signatures.
He did not have the
It was-
signatures 6 years ago. He shouldn't even be a U.S. senator because he should have lost right on the spot.
Well, one thing about, and I do want to get to more of the, well, it relates to the rescue, it relates to the jobs plan, is the infrastructure group.
Yeah.
So now there's over 20 senators who are focused on infrastructure. One of those senators is Todd Young. And, just over the last few days, Donald Trump has called on all Republicans, don't support infrastructure.
Here we go. See what
right?
happens. Like you said,
he couldn't get
identity
it done.
crisis.
He couldn't get it done in his term in office. Now he's pressuring, senators when he's out of office to say, don't support it, don't support it. My question is, what's Todd Young going to do? You know? And what do Indiana Republicans want him to do? Do they want him to keep doing what he's doing? Infrastructure push, we need it in this state, or is it, let's just follow Trump like we always do? And
we're just sitting here wondering if he's going to get in the ring with the mayor and do a boxing
better
match.
not.
Well,
I just did a triathlon, by the way. I want to remind you guys.
just
I
ran a
saw
5K.
I ran a 5K.
I
I'm
know.
in good shape.
Well, I
don't
saw
know.
the bench press in the green room.
I
that's
constantly am in there working out.
So you're going to, the plan is to continue the tour. I hear you might be trying to actually get somebody else in this podcast to head off on the road with you and make a couple appearances.
Yep, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'd love to have Mayor Tom hit the road. We were there in Wicker Park a few weeks ago, but talking about the jobs plan would be essential.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
FYI.
absolutely.
And by the way, I think your staff is great. You guys, it's Democratic Party staff's always been great.
Yeah.
Drew and Lauren, Kevin and I are both real close to both of them. They're just amazing. I know the rest of your staff's awesome also.
The whole team.
Yeah,
they're
you
great.
have a great
we
team.
just had, there's a lot going on. It's once I sit down and sort of think about it, it's like, wow. This past Saturday, we had our county party summit, which was 55 counties from around the state to get together. So we could introduce them to the staff, new staff members, tools that we're building for them, tech tools, how we talk about communications, how we're framing the future, all that kind of stuff. And we had like 115 people drive from all different corners of the state.
There's definitely an excitement.
I was
that we
county
haven't
chairman
felt
for
in a while.
5. I was county chairman for 5 years. I don't remember anything like that from.
A county party summit. Yeah, there you go.
No.
So, and we were greeted by, I got to give a shout out to a huge Lockpod fan, is Mayor Hogshead.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
He was there to greet us. on
I was
Saturday.
hoping maybe to pull him on for the last episode.
Ooh,
We love Mayor
get
Joe.
him back. Mayor Joe's great.
Mayor Joe. Yeah.
So before we finish up, I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
How do we win statewide? How do we get a statewide candidate to win?
Well, I think a few things. I think what I'm trying to do as chair is build a year-round organizing plan for the state. So we have people all throughout Indiana who are, week in, week out, forming relationships with people, volunteers, activists, party leaders, elected officials, labor, clergy, all that. Because I think we all know from working in campaigns and politics that from Labor Day to Election Day, depending on how your campaign's doing, it's all these organizers come and they're all energetic and they're ready to go, but they don't know the community. And I think knowing the community is really important.
Huge.
And so, and this isn't new. Wisconsin, Kansas, Michigan, Georgia, we saw what Georgia was able to do.
Yes.
All these states have done this over the last few years, which with success. There's no more Scott Walker. There's no more Sam Brownback. Gretchen Whitmer's up in Michigan. Kentucky as well.
Yes.
Governor Beshear, Democratic governor. It can be done.
Yeah. Great.
And so for me, this is how we do it, Kevin. It's a year-round organizing plan where we have people, boots on the ground, working with county parties, working with folks every day. The other thing is face-to-face conversations are the most important thing, but the second thing is media, is we need to have a sort of accountability project or a sort of a digital war room that responds to what Republicans are doing every day and has us going on offense. We're starting this right now at IDP, but we need to ramp it up even further because as we know, there's no sort of newspaper of record in small town Indiana anymore. It's nationalized, or they've been gobbled up, or it's the internet. We need to have a presence there. So consistently every day we are informing people about what's out there and what their choices are.
Awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think Democratic Party in Indiana is very lucky to have you as our chair. I'm super psyched about it. I mean, I think we're heading in the right direction. I think you're doing a great job already. I can't wait to see what your entire term, what you accomplished personally, because I really think that we're going to see brighter days.
Yeah,
It's been a
exciting.
long
Thanks,
time.
Mayor.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for making the trip over, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Easy.
Through time zones and everything.
I'm going to have to call Secretary Pete about 94.
That's
see if we
right.
can,
Yes.
right.
There, now you're talking. Now you're talking.
Tell them we're making space for him in season 4. So,
Wrap
will.
It, wrap
I
it
will.
up.
Mayor
Wrap it
Pete,
up,
if you're
locomotive.
listening, Mayor Pete, miss you. Keep doing a great job as Secretary Pete.
Without a
And
doubt.
Thanks, Mike Schmuhl, the Indiana
you.
Democratic Party chairman, for being our guest on LockPod. We have one more show left for the rest of the season. It's on
Amazing.
Friday. We're trying to we have an invite out to a very big guest, so I'm just sort of teasing the show. I'm hoping this guest accepts because it'll blow the roof off the place. Of course, we had second to the last show, we had the chairman of the party.
Yeah.
This next one will blow the roof off
Our
the
first
place.
presidential campaign manager in the House.
That's right. So,
Also, don't forget Festival of the Lakes this week.
yeah, Festival of the Lakes. We got Old Dominion tonight. Tomorrow we have Busta Rhymes opening for Nelly. On Thursday we have Limp Bizkit, and the weather right now looks clean on all nights. So
REO Speedwagon, Sammy Hagar in the Circle.
I could update them on that on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
That's
See,
true.
you
We'll
know,
be
you're,
back.
Come
that's
on,
why you're the
Kevin.
locomotive.
Come on,
Why am I
Kevin.
doing that?
That's right.
What's your pick of the band? Who would you pick, Mike? We're putting you on the spot here. What's your number one of the week?
I mean,
I'm-
and Nelly's tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
That's
I kind of like Nelly.
There you
By the
Busta
way,
Rhymes.
Nelly is awesome as a person. Like,
Is he?
Oh yeah, he's a wonderful person. He's great. And great show. I've never seen Busta, but Twista, who opens for him,
Oh, Twisted.
oh yeah.
he's
See?
classic.
Is he
a
like the
Chicago
fastest rapper
boy.
ever?
Yeah,
You got
fastest
it.
World Guinness Book of World Records.
that right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You could see him tomorrow,
He's
right
the
here in
best.
Hammond.
He's a local guy, man. Like seriously, yeah, you'll
he?
just see him. Yeah, he comes to Hammond all the time.
Is he from
He's
Hammond?
from Chicago.
Oh,
yeah, but
okay,
you see him
okay.
all the time. He like drives over and plays. He's
We're one of his favorites,
I think I'm one of his favorite mayors.
I
Other
thought-
than
without
Mayor
a
Pete.
doubt.
I thought for sure with the boots, Mike was going to say Old Dominion, and you're staying for tonight. No, you're heading back.
I mean, I was listening to Snapback on the way over here.
No,
Nice.
see, look at
Nice.
you, getting
Great
ready.
song.
There you
Ooh,
go.
nice.
We might know a
Great
guy who
song.
could get you sponsor passes.
Yeah. So anyway, Indiana Democratic Party Chairman Mike Schmuhl, thank you for being a guest
Thank
on
you.
LockPod. We're honored and appreciate you very much. Great job to Kevin Smith for the interview. Jill Gajewski, thank you very much, Jill, for doing what you do for us. And John Bez, thank you very much for being a great producer.
Yeah.
Again, one more episode left for season 3. We'll see you on Friday with a huge guest. And besides the huge guest we had today,
That's right.
but anyway, we appreciate you guys. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. See you on LockPod on Friday. Thanks, everybody.